Hello everyone and welcome to the Thursday Night GT Championship brought to you at the Red Bull Ring for rounds 13 and 14. This being round 13, the feature race. The penultimate round where we have about 5 or 6 drivers still in with a shout of the title, so that will be the main focus of today. Who can take it to Nathan, who is absent today. So we're on board Rob, and there's a couple of people who have changed car. Benji, who was second in the championship, 20 points off of Nathan, takes a 20-point hit for changing to the BMW and will go down to 40 points off of Nathan, so he's going to need a minor miracle to overturn that. Whereas Doko and Robert G have both switched to the Ferrari. So again, 20-point drop for them. Another repercussion of Benji changing will be the fact that will put Snakes Unite in the back foot for their hunt to win the team's title against me and Green, but of course no Nathan should balance that out. And we have a new driver in this lobby, Les. I'm not sure who he is, I was not informed he would be here. But I've also noticed Rob is running around on 60 litres. As he comes up to finish his first lap, I'm not sure what a representative time will be, but it doesn't look like he's got a lot of grip through that final corner. As he sets a 1 minute 30.3. Robert G goes half a second quicker. Here's Ben in his Mercedes. He's one of the few that will be in this title hunt, as we'll go through the points on that for you now. So you may have wondered, I haven't introduced Jordan yet. That's because he is not here for these 2 rounds. It will be just me, but I should hopefully be back next week for the season-ending round of Le Mans, a 2-hour endurance race. So it's currently Nathan leading the championship with 120 points. Ben will be in second with 95 points. So he's the favourite to overturn that. Adam will be third with 92. Dean fourth with 90. Gaz in fifth with 82, who is also absent from this round. And Benji with his 20-point drop on 80 points. So like I say, anyone from first to sixth is still in with a shout, as Benji set the representative time of a 28.7. Like I say, he is in the BMW, which is a very, very good car around here. I used this car myself in Season 6, managed to win the sprint race, but it seems Benji's gotten to grips with it straight away. Of course, this track is high up in the Austrian mountains, so turbocharged cars do have a big advantage, with which this is. Of course, Dean in second, nearly a second off. As Benji comes around, is he going to improve on his time at all? He does, 128.3, he's 1.2 seconds clear of anyone. But here comes his teammate Adam. Yeah, set time. Dean's improved ever so slightly to only be 1.1 off. Will Adam break that 1 second barrier? No, that must have been Adam's outlap. Let's see what Les is in. He is in the NSX, the HKS sponsored one. Now, is this an outlap or is it his actual lap? He again, much like Rob, is running around with a lot of fuel, surprisingly. And he's got Ben right behind him. And Ben improves 29.9. Put him up into 5th. Adam, the last man to set a time. We'll see what he can do when he comes round to finish the lap in about 30-40 seconds or so. As he comes around turn 6 all the way to, squirreling through the exit of turn 6 down into turn 7. And a little flick right for 8. Of course, as you can see, it is very grey. This race is overcast. There won't be any rain, but it's a change from the normal sunny conditions that we usually see. Oh, as Adam has invalidated his lap. Of course, that is one thing I should mention. The track limit penalties are on for this race. This track usually brings up a lot of controversy in terms of penalties for who's cheated and who's not, and so the drivers will have to be careful, because if they run wide or cut a corner, they're going to have to be told to slow down. And slow down penalties, in my opinion, are the worst penalties. They're terrible for the driver, and a bit dangerous in my opinion. So here's Frank, he's just started a lap. There's Adam coming out behind him. Adam's only going to get one more lap in here, so he's got to make it a good lap, so the pressure's on him. If he pushes too hard and extends, he's at the back, but if he plays it safe, you could be down, well, you could maybe not even jump that many places. You could slip into 7th, 8th. Here comes Dean down into turn 6. This race should provide some very good racing, lots of straights, plenty of slipstream, but based on quality, I think Benji might have it easy. But his closest challenger so far, Dean, let's see what he can do. Exactly, Paul is up in 3rd, that's a great effort from him. Of course, in the turbocharged Ferrari. So it should be a very strong car around here, backed up by the fact that Doko, and I assume it's Robert G, in 4th and 5th in the Ferrari. Dean improves only by thousandths. Yep, that is Robert G in 5th, so the Ferraris are running very, very well. Deathstroke, 1.6 near enough off of Benji. He'll not be happy with that, considering that's an equal car. Rob Notch has gone wide, that's his session over. Doko using the blue and yellow Ferrari, I'm not sure what number that is. Number 50. Ben will be the next to set a lap. Ben will have enough time to set another lap after this. He's got the fuel too. I'm sure, as Nathan's closest threat and 2nd in the title, I'm sure 7th is not going to be where he wants to be. Maybe this is just not a good track for the Mercedes, but then Dean's up in 2nd. Ben only jumps a place ahead of Deathstroke. So it's going to be 6th at least for Ben. Unless Adam can find anything, but Ben has backed out of it, he's quit. It's going to be 6th at best for Ben, but where will Adam put himself in the mix? As he comes down into turn 9, the rent corner. Doesn't go wide, keeps it on the track this time. Keeps it on the track at the final corner through Red Bull Mobile. So he runs up the straight. Where's this going to put him? Most people are in the pits. He goes P8 for Adam. And Dean actually improved to only be 6/10 off of Benji. Paul is the last man running on the track. He's had a crash somewhere as his Ferrari's beat up. But 6th and 8th for Ben and Adam. Nathan's 2 main title contenders all the way down there. Of course, that leaves him in the risk to have a big accident at turn 1 like we saw last week. So Paul doing very, very impressive. He's going to start 3rd at worst. It would take a good lap for him to, I'd say, jump Dean, but you never know. As he's gone a bit wide, is that invalidated? Yep, I would say so. Flash the lights from Paul, and that is your qualifying session over. It's just Dean and Adam circulating the track, and a very mixed session for the Mercedes. 2nd for Dean, but then 6th, 8th and 9th for Ben, Adam and Rob. Les 10th on his debut, just half a second ahead of Frank. So your qualifying session, and Benji taking pole by 7/10 of a second ahead of Dean. In third place was a very, very impressive Paul Scott, with Doko and Robert G, the two teammates, lining up 4th and 5th in their new Ferrari. Ben will be disappointed with 6th, as will Adam and Rob in 9th. Deathstroke in the probably the best car for this track, only in 7th. Les in the Honda taking 10th, and Frank propping up the grid in 11th in the Mercedes. So apart from Dean, not a good session for the Mercedes at all. So as we line up on the grid now, we'll have about 2 or so minutes until we start the race. We should have some few interesting points. Will Dean attack Benji? Can Paul hold third? What about Ben, Adam and Rob? Can they improve at all? What about Deathstroke? He's in arguably the best car for this track and he's only down in 7th. So you would say, based on a normal grid, this is very mixed up, but Red Bull Ring is a very unique track. So we'll await the drivers, will be adjusting fuel, adjusting small details and setups, make sure they've got the right pit strategy for when they come in around halfway through the race for their mandatory pit stop. And this is Frank's view all the way at the back of the grid. As you can see, a lot of Mercedes in that view. So they've not had the greatest time of it. So we'll have Les in the very unknown Honda behind him, or ahead of him should I say. Of course, I'm sure a lot of the drivers won't know him either, so might get a bit nervous trying to race him, but I think he had a fair gap to Rob in front of him, about a second, so based on pace he shouldn't really be a threat to them. And there's Benji in his new car lining up on pole position. Definitely the strong favourite to win this race. So we're just going to wait any moment now, we should sink in. And there we go, we've sunk in. If that's even the right term, but still. 3 red lights. And it's green and we're off in Australia. Looks like a great start from Benji. But Dean's actually pulled alongside him. Who's going to get into turn 1? Dean has the inside line and Dean's done it. Looks like they've all gotten through very clean at the back. Frank has jumped 2 positions up into 9th. What about the front? What can Benji do about Dean? And Gaz says he predicted it's an easy win for the M6 at this track, but not if he's got a big white Mercedes in the way. And looks like this gaggle of cars in the middle. Because Rob's coming back at Frank. So Doko's jumped. Oh, that's Deathstroke off. With a helping hand from Adam. That's going to do Adam no help in this situation. He's going to have to drop all the way to the back and let Deathstroke go. And it's not even like you could say with his pace, as Benji and Dean are fighting through turn 7. Dean again, it's the inside. Benji tucks back in for turn 8. As it looks like Robert G is now having a go at Paul. So that's a 3-4 for the Hot Wheels Racing guys. Paul's slipped down to 5th off the start, and now Ben's going to start having a look at him. And on Adam, you would say, it's not even like he has the pace to just come back and charge through the field here. Considering he only qualified 8th or so, and he's actually going really slow. Has he got damage, or is he just retiring? I'm not sure what he's doing. So we've seen Benji already getting feisty trying to come back at Dean. But if he can get that easy win like Gaz thinks he can, he's going to have to do something about him. He will have the power advantage having the turbocharger. As Adam pits, which allows going into the pits, but is this for a genuine stop? Did he have damage? Do the tyres last long enough that people are just going to think they can go around for all 25 laps? Oh, and it looks like Adam. Oh no. Thought he was out the race as his marker had gone blue. Well, maybe he's just making a really early pit stop as Benji and Dean come together. Oh, and a bit more contact with Dean. As Benji's not happy there with a flash of the lights. Dean, actually, despite the contact, did a very good job to hold it around the outside. As yes, Adam was just pitting as he's now exited the track and on his run up towards turn 2 and 3. As Dean's gone wide there, is he going to get a slowdown for that? Benji's perhaps gone in a bit deep into turn 1. And actually, Doko is now starting to get involved in this. He's now closer to Benji than Benji is to Dean. Oh, now here's this 3 wide down into turn 3, Frank on the inside. Deathstroke's been the big loser at that, but he's going to get Les back. Not sure what that straight line speed of the NSX is like, but the BMW should be one of the best round here. Actually, looks like Deathstroke's going to come back at Frank, so that seemingly weak Mercedes is going to get passed by the... Oh, was the better contact. Going to get passed by the seemingly very strong M6. Now, we'll have to keep an eye on what Adam's lap time is, as everyone seems to be in the 1 minute 30s, 1 minute 31s, as Frank and Les actually did 1 minute 33s that lap, but they were fighting. So these 3 could be ones to watch, as is Les going to have a run into Rint corner, turn 9, no, he thinks better of it. And what about back at the front? You think with the pace advantage it's going to be a case of when, not if, Benji can get past Dean, but it doesn't look like there's many cracks in Dean's armour just yet. And Ben's attack of Paul seems to have died off for now. He's still close, but not as close as he was. So is Doko's attack on Benji. He's now... Dean's gone wide and that's Benji into P1. Dean, me saying he had no cracks in his armour, has just gifted Benji the place back. So is Benji now just going to run off and win this with ease? Or is Dean going to have a say in the outcome of this race? There's a big gap back from Ben to Rob Noxious, about 3 seconds, then about another 3 seconds back to Deathstroke, Frank and Les. So the grid seems to be getting very split up just now. Ben's thinking about a move on Paul. He'll see Benji winning, Adam down the back. And with Benji's points deficit, he's probably just got eyes on Adam right now. He knows this is a great chance for him to get a lot of points, but of course there is the sprint race, so if he doesn't have a great race right now, he could go win the sprint race and get a handful of points. As Benji's already got 1.5 seconds on Dean, and Adam with a 1:31.2. You'd say that's not even enough to jump him into P6. He'd probably split in between Ben and Rob if he can make up enough time. Of course, he'll have to use the 10 or so laps he's got until people start diving in to try and make up as much time as possible to slip in to what you expect to be between 6th and 7th. Paul nearly into the back of Robert G. Is this going to give Ben a chance? No, Paul seems to have gathered it all up very well, but that was a day late and a dollar short for Paul there. As everybody's going right wide through the turn 6, the Pirelli corner. Adam again, only a 1:31.4. You would have to say though, everyone's being quite polite with their track limits so far. I don't think we've seen anyone have to slow down yet. And this will be the view then as they climb up towards the kink of turn 2. Not really a corner as Les pits, and then they brake hard down into turn 3 Ramus. And Paul, whether he was going defensive from Ben or just a weird line, dived to the inside very quickly. And Adam, for his sake, will have to hope he can get out ahead of Les. If not, he might have a bit more of a difficult day. Les isn't moving yet as Adam's coming around Rent corner, turn 9. Les is now moving as Adam's in again. So he got damage? No, Adam is out of the race. That's Adam's hopes, you would say, over. Paul's gone wide out of turn 9. But again, with this queue that's now starting to form up, no one really seems to be able to make the moves. They all just seem to be sticking at status quo for now. Of course, Paul in that Ferrari will have a massive straight line speed advantage on Ben. All three of these cars ahead of Ben will have a big straight line speed advantage, having the turbocharger. See, Ben's in slipstream and he's just dropping off. But Benji's already pulled out a 3-second lead. He's not messing around here. It's definitely his to lose at this stage. That was a bit messy through Pirelli for Ben. I'd say Paul now is closer to making a move to Robert. You see Benji off in the distance there, already out of turn 1. Paul again, but this time it was actually just general outbraking. He didn't go deep this time. So Paul has a chance up into turn 3. Adam is gone. Is Paul going to be brave on the brakes, or is he just going to accept that he's not going to do it this time? He's braked early and just let Robert go. But is he going to have a chance down towards turn 4, down to the Roush corner? He tries to dummy Robert G, but Robert is not fazed by that at all. But this has put Ben right in the back of Paul. Is Ben going to go for it into turn 6? He thinks about it, but backs out of it. If Ben's going to have to do it anywhere, it's going to have to be sort of between turn 4 and turn 8 through this middle sector. Because I don't think anyone can do anything about his straight line speed. Again, trying to do to Paul what Paul tried to do to Robert and just fake them out, but it seems like nobody is falling for it. So we're on lap 8, just starting lap 9. Makes you think, when are we going to start seeing people trying undercuts? Would someone like Doko pit early to try and cover undercuts? So I think this 4 are all going to be sorted on strategy. Who does what and comes out where. Very, very, very slidey from Ben through turn 4. Seems like this 4 are the only ones still together on track. Benji's driven off, Dean's away from Doko. Behind Ben, everyone's starting to spread out. Les is pitted with a very early stop. We never saw what that was for. We never saw him have any sort of incident. Now lap 10. Now I think we will start to see drivers in. I feel like Ben will be one of the first to come in. He likes to undercut, and he probably thinks, even with the power deficit in race trim, maybe he reckons he's faster than Paul as he thought about a move there. Sort of half-hearted commitment. Of course, not just for his driver's title, but with Adam out the race, it's now just a straight shootout of Ben and Benji for the team's title. They'll want to take that big advantage into Le Mans next week, because Ben's now really trying to get past Paul. Whether Paul's just started to slow down or Ben's found something. No, he's nearly 8/10ths down, so Ben's not found something. Maybe Paul's just struggling with tyres or struggling with something. But he's certainly fallen off the back of Robert by a second and a half. So it looks like Paul's pitting. Yep, Paul has pitted. He's the first to pull the trigger of the front runners. So will Ben just give it everything on this lap and pit one lap later, or will he go 3-4 laps longer and try and have the tyre advantage at the end? I'm guessing Frank pitted somewhere, as he's done a 2:09 and he's 10 seconds ahead of Les. I'm guessing Frank pitted somewhere that we missed. Now if Ben does stay out this lap, we'll have to see what sort of time he can do. 1:31.8 was his last lap. But he's actually lost a hell of a lot through the first sector. Whether that's not quite right or not. And Paul is just rolling out of the pit lane now. As it looks like Les is actually getting lapped. Yep, he has been lapped by Benji. And it looks like Robert G has a penalty for track limits, as his name is now up in red. As him and Doko continue. What about Ben? Does he come in? Nope. Now I'm guessing if Robert doesn't slow down, he will get a time penalty. I'm not sure how much the game gives you. Ben clips that inside the Castrol edge corner. It's so easy to run wide out of there and just try and use more of the track than you're really allowed, but it's just so tempting as a driver. Deathstroke now in the pits, so we're starting to see the pit stops coming around. It's Robert and Doko. Now probably the only closest two on track. There's Ben with a 133. I don't think something's right with Ben here. Maybe he got slowed down. But 133, he's now 7 behind those guys. And he's got Rob on his tail. So I'm guessing Ben's either got an issue or he's been a bit naughty with the track limits. But if he was a bit keen with the track limits, he must have slowed down, unlike Rob, who's now got a penalty, and Benji is in. Dean carries on. Ben comes in, Rob comes in, other Rob comes in. Doko and Dean have carried on. So you think Paul should come out ahead of Ben, considering how much Ben has lost. Benji getting held up a lot there by Ben's car pulling into the box. And there's Rob's car coming in. Benji's gonna roll out of the pit lane. Feels like an eternity. And up through this very tight corner. Very easy to run a tad wide and just slam into that wall. But Ben is moving, but there is Paul. Now has Paul got Robert G? Where's Robert? They're going to be side by side, but I think Paul has the advantage. Is Robert going to be able to tuck into slipstream and come back at him though, up into turn 3? Yeah, Robert has come back at him, and he's done it. Paul got the switch back on, he's got the better momentum, and meanwhile, this is all going to be helping Doko. As if these two could jump Doko, this is technically a fight for the podium. Yeah, you can see Ben now 6 seconds behind these guys, so he lost an awful lot in his 2 head laps. There's 2 laps out while Paul was in the pits. These two are still side by side all the way through turn 6, but it looks like Robert has finally got that one done. But for Paul's sake, Robert has a penalty. I don't know if the drivers can see that in the middle of the race. I think they can. As Dean and Doko have carried on. And Dean has lapped Les now. He's a few seconds away from lapping Frank. Of course, Dean has to pit. Now will Paul stick with it and maybe have a go at Robert, but he's gone a bit wide there. He's got a run. He's gaining. Nose to tail, basically pushing him through Ramus. You know what, this is helping Ben, he's closed in a bit. But Rob is only 8/10 behind him. Deathstroke's in 8th there. Having been fighting with Frank and Les, he's done a very good job to be that far ahead of them. Dean has not pitted, nor has Doko, so these two are going very long. And Doko is actually going faster than Dean. A 1 minute 30.6. But there's nothing compared to Benji, who's just done a 29.2. Dean's trying some sort of overcut. Don't think it's quite gonna work. Doko is putting himself at jeopardy of being passed by Rob and Paul. And maybe if he's not careful, even Ben. I think Doko has finally pitted, so we'll have to see where he comes out compared to Robert, Paul, Ben and Rob. I think he should be ahead of Ben. So it looks like Rob Noxious now actually has a penalty. His name is up in red, so he's abused the track limit somewhere. We will take you on an on-board lap with Benji. I shall update you as to where Doko comes out. So, we'll go on board with Benji later and we'll see. There's Robert, there's Paul. He's gonna come out right beside Paul. No, he's actually come out ahead of Paul, but Paul has the momentum. I'm taking turn one properly. Paul's not quite close enough unless he absolutely sends it. No, he's hung back on that one. Dean has finally pitted, so that's the last of the people to stop. So Ben's setting faster laps than Paul last time round, but not faster than Robert G. So yet to be seen, can Ben's charge be reignited now? We will go for our on-board lap with Benji. As soon as he is going to take the lead, and nothing should really happen the next lap. So turn one, very, very tight. Opens up a little bit on the exit. And now it's just a flat-out run up the hill. Great if you're behind a car to get the slipstream. Keep it right, and sort of pull it back left for the flick of turn two. Brake around the 100-meter board for turn 3 Ramis, sorry. Be careful on the traction on the exit, the car does like to squirrel around, and then it's just again flat out all the way down to turn 4, the Roush corner. An off camber downhill braking zone, very easy to get this one wrong. Which clip the curb and then open the throttle up and use all of that curb on the exit. Pull the car slowly back to the right through turn 5, flick it left for turn 6 of Pirelli. Sort of take a very late apex to this corner, run it out wide. Keep it wide for turn 7, the Worth corner. Then the flick right of turn 7 all the way down to turn 8, a blind crest. But that's never really an issue. Down into turn 9, rent, brake just before the 50 marker. Use some of that outside curb, don't go too far, and then take a lot of inside curb for turn 10 Red Bull Mobile and push it out wide and then just flat out all the way to the line. We'll see what sort of lap time Benji can do. There's a 29.7, so a fairly good lap. Now, Ben, 2.3 behind Paul. So, he's caught in quite a lot. Whether Paul has some sort of issue, or Ben is just quicker but couldn't get by, is yet to be seen. 6/10 out of him on that lap. These two, Doko and Robert J, are still running together, third and fourth. I wonder, will Robert make up enough to cover whatever sort of penalty he has to Paul? Whether he's got 5 seconds, 10 seconds, I'm not quite sure. There's Dean. Never really looked like challenging Benji once he let him through. Of course, it would have been interesting to see just how long he could keep Benji behind when he was ahead, and if he hadn't made that mistake up into turn 3. He's on a quick lap now, so we'll see what sort of time he can do. As he comes down towards the finish line, what time will it be? 1:29.4, faster than Benji, but doesn't beat Benji's best time, which is around a 29.1. Now what about Paul and Ben's time? Paul 30.7, Ben 30.8. So Paul was marginally quicker that lap, maybe just had a scruffy lap or two. But Ben had certainly closed about 2-3 seconds on Paul. Doko all of 8 thousandths up on his best. He will probably know that Robert has a penalty. Maybe that's why he's not being so aggressive trying to pass him. And he knows that if he stays where he is, the podium is his. But he's very close this time. It looks like he's actually really thinking about going for it. He wants it on track. It looks like whatever sort of issue Paul had is fixed, as Doko goes very wide out of turn 10. Yeah, 3.4 for Ben to Paul. There's going to be a slower lap for Ben. Yeah, 31.8. Wow. Whether Ben got in trouble that lap for his track limits, of course it was his idea to put them on, seeing as he runs this league. Maybe he's regretting that decision. Doko in the slipstream of Robert down to turn 4. Is he going to go for it? No, he sticks behind him for now. Doko went a bit wide in the entry, but he cuts it back for the middle. Shame the straight wasn't longer, as Robert's actually got a very good slipstream. No, Doko has a very good slipstream on Robert, my apologies. But Doko is really trying to apply the pressure here, as it looks like Ben. Looks like he's not going to have a great lap again. Robert goes very to the inside. These two just need to make sure they don't crash. It's very good driving from the pair of them, but the last thing they need to do is take each other out while running third and fourth. It was a slightly better lap from Ben, a 30.9, 12 thousandths faster than Paul. As these two are providing the main action today. As it looks like Robert's just gotten too good an exit out of turn 3 for Doko to be any sort of threat to him. Something, I think, happened to Rob Noxious. I don't know whether he's had a spin or trouble for track limits, but he's now 7 seconds behind Ben and 2 off of Deathstroke. And Deathstroke was actually setting some relatively competitive times. Same as those of around Ben and Paul. Back to these two, they're still going at it. Looks like Robert is just a bit more ragged than Doko at the moment. But he's got enough of a gap this time to be safe into turn 1 and presumably up to turn 3. Wasn't my Doko not chasing the slipstream? He's gaining, but it's not enough. Robert with a 35.7 from last lap, so yeah, something definitely happened to lose him 4 or 5 seconds. As you can see, Deathstroke is closing in. He's got 5 laps to try and do something, try and get that P7. And of course Rob has a penalty, so he might not need to do it on track. And Doko was a very, very good run this time. His run seems to have sort of died off towards turn 9, but through the exit of 7 and 8, he had a very, very good run in Robert. Through turn 10, Red Bull Mobile. And he's gaining, but again, Robert's going to be safe into turn 1. In turn 3 is where Doko seems to always get a better exit than Robert. He seems to be able to hold a tighter line. Can he do it again? Yes, he's got a very good run this time. This is probably his best chance so far of making a move down to turn 4. Is he going to go for it? Is Robert going to defend it? He's going for it. Oh, no, he backed out of that one. Which is a shame. That was definitely his best chance so far. But it looks like Doko is far, far stronger in turn 3. And I thought he was definitely going to have him that time, but no. Meanwhile, this is all just affecting Robert, because if he's got 5 seconds, he's still going to be behind Paul at this rate, whereas if maybe they let Doko go, Robert follows, he could have had the 5 seconds by now, but at this rate, no. So maybe a tactical blunder by these two, but I'm sure they're enjoying it. As you can see, they're 1.2 seconds off their best, so this fighting is really holding them up, as Robert's got another good run out of turn 1, and he'll get it all the way up the hill towards turn 2 and 3. Is he going to go for it this time? Is he going to back out of it again? He's not as close as he was in the last lap. Into turn 3, into turn 4, sorry. This time he's got to have him. He's a 10th coming out the corner. He's fully alongside. He's got to have him this time. Doko doesn't come out of this corner head, I'll be shocked. No, and it looks like ow, they've nearly done a Mercedes 2016. Careful, boys. Is Robert going to have the chance to come straight back at him? Yes, if Doko goes wide like that. And it looks like Rob's threat from Deathstroke has died off. Rob started setting some quicker times, quicker than Ben and Paul. Right, quicker than anyone up until you get to Dean in second, but these two will be hampered by fighting. 2 laps left. Has Robert got any sort of reply? You would think no, as Doko seems to have the strong pace advantage. With 30.3 for Doko, he's improved his time. You can see he's trying to break the slipstream of Robert. So it looks like these two are the positions that can swap round. Benji seems to have the set when Dean's had a quiet second, and all these attempted undercuts in the midfield haven't really done anything. And so for the final time, Benji's charging up the hill towards turn 2 and 3 in his very, very offensive blue M6 Fanatec. Been very much untroubled apart from losing the lead off the start, so I'm sure he would have liked to claim a lights to flag victory, but I'm sure in the standings he's not going to care too much. He'll have pole, I think he has fastest lap, he'll have the win, he'll take the max points, and with this sort of pace advantage, he will have a very, very, very good shout in the sprint race of getting a podium if he can stay out of any potential chaos. So through turn 7 and 8 for the last time. Flicks it into turn 9, the rent corner. I'm sure he'll be taking it very easy not to get a silly penalty at the end. Just turn 10, Red Bull Mobile. He'll come down the pit straight and across the line to win round 13, the feature race here at the Red Bull Ring. A fantastic win for Benji, very unchallenged. Dean put up a good fight to try and stop him, but ultimately it was never going to be enough. Takes a very well deserved second place. And now these two coming round turn 9. So Paul and Les have disconnected right at the end. That's a bit odd. I'm sure their places will be reinstated. But third and fourth for these two. Ben, he'll come around the line to take 6th, I guess, once Paul is reinstated, as that will be very unfair on him. Rob Noxious very wide out of turn 10, doing a bit of rally crossing. Maybe something happened to Deathstroke because he's now way off. But Rob, 7th place, so I'm going to say Paul will be reinstated in 5th. Deathstroke with a net P8. As he avoids this chaos going around, and then Frank in P10. Frank takes P9, as we've just had confirmation that Paul will get 5th and Les will get 10th. So Benji, your race winner, 11.5 seconds with the fastest lap. Dean and Doko taking the podium. Robert and Rob only getting 1 second penalties, which is, I thought it would have been more, but Robert in 4th, Paul 5th, Ben 6th, Rob 7th, Deathstroke 8th, Frank 9th, and Les 10th. So that is your feature race from the Red Bull Ring. And I hope you join us in 5-10 minutes time for the sprint race, which should be very, very good.